Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. There are three kinds of bad gear. 1. Gear with limitations, maybe caused by the underlying concept of the instrument or product abandonment. 2. Gear that is considered a crime against good taste. And 3. Gear that is just bad, with hardly any redeeming qualities. Today we're going to talk about a piece of gear that I would put in the latter category, the Akai MPX-8. This 2013 sample player was released in a time when the legendary manufacturer was walking through a long vale of tears. Changes in ownership, the alleged death of the hardware sampler, and what appeared to be the demise of the MPC led the company's focus shift to various forms of quick and sturdy shareholder value maximization. And the worst was yet to come. Funny and tragic at the same time, there was and still is a great demand for straightforward, compact and easy-to-use sample players like the MPX-8. Akai, you had one job and one job only.
At the first glance, the Akai MPX-8 is ticking quite a few boxes. Multicolor backlit drum pads, SD card slot, USB, headphones and quarter-inch jack outputs.
The matrix system is the tool of the devil!
While the monochrome display seems to be adequate, the mini jacks for MIDI are not even worth my wrath. The UI is self-explanatory. No menus, just select a parameter and turn the jog dial. Ease of use is highly appreciated, but it won't take long until the numerous limitations become obvious. Maximum
transposition range of the samples
is restricted
to 4 semitones
up and
down.
The reverb is really bad and there are no choke groups. Very inconvenient for all the finger drummers out there. Akai implemented stereo sample playback in the first and, as far as I know, only firmware upgrade. 3 classic trigger modes can be assigned to the samples. One-shots for drums, loop for loops, and hold for everything in between. You can choose the MIDI notes sent and received by the pad slots, but the MIDI channel is fixed at 10. There is no sample editing or envelopes. Everything's fun and games as long as you use the 21 internal samples. The real trouble starts as soon as you want to add your own. SD cards need to be formatted in FAT16 or 32, maximum card size is 32 gigs, you have to stick to DOS naming conventions and the unit is very picky about the files. Akai provides a file conversion tool, but it even made things worse in some cases. Sample RAM is a whopping 30 megs and file size is rounded up, so a 2.1 meg file will use up 3 megs. SD cards can be managed with a dedicated editor, which didn't help me much, and all samples need to be stored in the root folder of the card. You have meticulously prepared your audio files, stored them on the SD card and wanna start jamming? Please be patient while the samples are loaded into the RAM in what seems to be real time. Samples and kits are loaded by locating them with a jog dial and doing nothing. There is no sample playback while loading, which, given the ludicrous speed of the error-prone loading process, can be quite a buzzkill. Moreover, a disturbing proportion of the file transfers led to seriously messed up samples, with unsettling noises at loop points and strange delays between left and right channel as the most common issues. I tried many different SD cards, including both antiques and fancy 4K video-ready new ones, but it didn't make much difference. On a positive note, there have been a lot of complaints about loops not running in sync. I made a test with 2 drum loops triggered via USB MIDI and they stayed in time for hours. However, it took me a while to start them simultaneously, as the MPX-8 doesn't like too much MIDI business going on at the same time and is prone to note stealing. Very annoying when triggered by an external sequencer. Apart from these minor inconveniences, the MPX-8 is a fine machine. Build quality is rugged and prices range from very affordable for a new one to dirt cheap on the used market.
No one expected this little sample player to replace our real MPC, but I'm still asking myself, did Akai hit rock bottom when they released the unfinished abomination that is the MPX-8?
You have already heard the MPX-8 as the playback device of today's intro tune. Only 1 out of 3 edits was completely mutilated. Not bad. I think I found the ideal sparring partner for the MPX.
Note to self: never even think of using the Rhythm Wolf's synth voice ever again. In defense of these two instruments, I really like the idea of a sample wolf, and the combination of analog sub-bass and the sample from the MPX really improved the whole kick situation. I tried different edits of the pad sound, but the MPX-8 kept producing weird noises at the loop point. As a big fan of the Digitakt, I have to concede that the MPX has two features my beloved Electron instrument is missing: stereo sample playback and velocity sensitive pads. Let's find out how well these two very different players go together. Given the very limited MIDI implementation of the MPX-8, it wasn't easy to make the two instruments work together. I had to use the RetroKids RK2 to translate MIDI channel and note data. One question remains: is there a way to demonstrate the true nature of this little sample player in a classic Bad Gear finale? Fortunately, I found the original MPX-8 sound library on Akai's homepage, and it's not so bad. Let's get it over with and hit play on this Akai Core mashup in celebration of Faxi Nadu How Low Can You Go Micro House. Verdict: the Akai MPX-8 is the buggiest, most unfinished and least fun piece of gear I've ever had the displeasure to use. Which is a shame. It would be great to have an affordable little instrument that keeps all the promises the MPX has broken. I don't want to rub it in, so let's try to focus on the positive. Akai went through a difficult phase, but it seems like things have changed for the better. Not only did Akai release instruments that are able to uphold the legacy, they even made some customer-friendly business decisions I was able to use for some next-level Roland bashing. Thanks for that. Maybe, just maybe, other brands will follow suit. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron and leave a comment what other kind of gear you would like to see and hear on the show.